each of you for being here as well. Every time Amtrak nominees have come before this committee, I've pushed for robust funding and support for Amtrak to improve rail network for long-distance runs. I continue to hear horror stories about delays and challenges, especially from constituents in New Mexico. There's been folks that have been trying to cut the run there and give us buses instead of trying to fight to keep that thing going and you extrapolate that across rural America. So I appreciate the responses I've already been hearing. The Southwest Chief has the second lowest on-time performance rate of all the long-distance routes, getting customers on their destination on time only 34% of the time during this last year. I would like to commend President Biden for nominating several Amtrak board members from the Western United States in line with the requirements passed in the bipartisan infrastructure law for geographical diversity on the board. Now, it's vital that there are members of the board who understand the unique challenges of the West and will stand up for our long-distance routes and the passengers they serve. Mr. Batory, I appreciate you being here as well, being from Santa Fe. Now, I'd like to pose the same question to all of you. As a member of the Amtrak board, yes or no, are you committed to advocating for increased funding for the long-distance network, in particular to address outdated equipment and maintenance issues?
Yes.
Mr. Capote?
Yes, Senator.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vittori? Ms. Latham?
Yes, Senator.
Thank you or Ms. Clegg, thank you. I'll follow up in writing about that as well. Now, I want to follow up more specifically on my efforts to preserve the Southwest Chief Service in New Mexico and very much appreciate the work of Senator Moran. It was years ago as a member of the House when I was invited into a room with several senators, with Senator Moran leading that effort to visit with a CEO from Amtrak when they were trying to give us buses and trying to cut those trains to get commitments there. So, Mr. Batory, you served as administrator of the Federal Railroad Administration during the previous administration. While FRA and Amtrak are separate, they do work closely, especially when it comes to grant making and budgetary decisions. Can you briefly explain your involvement in the repeated attempts to move the Southwest Chief route to bus service during your time as FRA administrator?
Senator Moran, I'm proud to share with you that there was a gulf between myself and President Anderson in regards to the Southwest Chief. I took a personal interest in it. First, we were using the absence of positive train control as the reason. Then we were talking about the physical plant condition. I reached out to Burlington Northern Santa Fe. I high-railed the railroad from Lamy, New Mexico, going to Trinidad, and realized that the physical plant was adequate for the class of track in which it was maintained for, and that there was a lot of subterfuge, if you will, on trying to degrade the Southwest Chief. I'm pleased to share with you it never happened.
I very much appreciate that and was hoping to hear that as clear as you shared it today so that it was part of the record. Now, Ms. Pretori, I'm going to read a quote from the president, previous president, President Trump's fiscal year 2018 budget request. Quote, Amtrak's long-distance trains do not serve a vital transportation purpose and are a vestige of when train service was the only viable transcontinental transportation option, end quote. Do you agree with that assessment?
I don't recall that statement, but I don't agree with it.
That answers my question. Mr. Vittori, do you agree that Congress should stop funding Amtrak's long-distance routes?
No, it should not.
If confirmed, do you commit to preserving and expanding rather than reducing service on the Southwest Chief line?
I would certainly be open to listening to the facts that support that expansion. I
appreciate that very much. Madam Chair, I want to thank you for this important hearing and especially allowing me to ask questions around the Southwest Chief, which is vital to New Mexico. Since I have 30 seconds, Mr. Batory, being from Santa Fe, I hope that we look to expand opportunities and we take a chance to learn more, as we heard from Mr. Latham, into more rural areas. There's not a way for us to get from Santa Fe down to Las Cruces, into the border and into Santa Teresa, which is expanding, It's incredible to see what's happening there and gets us closer to El Paso. So I hope to have further conversations with all of you down the road as we look at some of those opportunities down the road. So thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Luján. Thank you for that advocacy. Before we